Barczyk show. They didn't see me.
I didn't know you were doing that.
You didn't know I was under there either?
Oh, I can't breathe. Okay. What
So,
are you doing?
I'm getting clothes. You never sit in the same chair. It's nice. So today we're going to be talking about something.
Wait. Hold on, can you just wait a second?
So today we're actually going to be talking about our faith and Christianity and Jesus Christ and our God. Now, this is something that is new to both of us. Kevin's got a different story than I have.
And pretty much what we're gonna, how we're gonna go about this is, we're gonna kind of answer 3 questions. So, I have them on my phone so I don't forget. We're each gonna kind of do, what was your life like before Jesus? How did you come to know Jesus? And then what is your life like now because you know Jesus?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we're gonna structure. So
yeah.
What was your life like before Jesus?
So I'm gonna make it as short as possible, as brief as possible.
20 minutes.
30 minutes. So, I was born into a Christian family, per se, and, I went to a Christian school, but one of the things that happened to me was, I didn't believe in it myself, or I didn't choose to, believe in it, with my own will. So it was kind of like a forced thing. Hey, we're going to church on Sundays. You're going on Wednesdays. You go to school. It's church. It's a church school. So it was really forced, right? And for whatever reason, I just didn't click with me. So I never really had a relationship with God or a relationship with Jesus, and I never allowed him into my life to actually
So you were
change.
around the church and all of the stuff, all the stories, you're pretty well versed in a lot of it, but you didn't have that relationship.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
I don't like you said. I know a lot of the stories. I mean, I went to Christian school literally K through 12. And then went to Bible, and then went to church very regularly, so I know a lot of the stories.
It's one of my favorite things is because I don't know any of them, and I'm quite literally learning them now. So I get to come to you guess what I learned, or did you know this? And he's like, yep, I knew that one.
But it's fun. It's cool because but it's still cool. I was about to go off on a whole tangent, but I'm gonna stop myself.
So then, how did you come to know Jesus?
Well, what was my life like before? I still gotta answer that real quick.
What? Did you just answer it?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Because that was throughout
your upbringing.
My upbringing,
okay.
And so, but once I became, a teenager, things start to go really south.
That's the important part.
I think I've talked about this a little bit before, and we can, we'll probably have a whole podcast on this, but to be frank, I had a drug problem when I was a teenager, and...
We should do a solo episode on that one day, just a you episode.
Yeah, it should.
And I can do one on my problem.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I had a drug problem, and that I was lucky to get out of. God, I'm getting old now, so it's hard to remember. I think I was 17. So it started young and it ended young. So it got scary, right? And could have taken my life like it's taken many other young people's lives, but I did get lucky to get out of it alive, and there's no looking back. So that is part of it. I mean, obviously we had a baby. That's a part of both our stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say lost. Pretty lost.
What?
No.
Can you explain that? You just said the word lost.
Yeah, what was my life like before?
Oh, okay. You're just screwed.
Kind of lost.
Yeah.
No strong compass, I'd say. No strong foundation, as I mentioned in church. So that's kind of a brief little synopsis of my past.
And so how did you come to know
from where we were, we moved pretty far north, and first we moved into an apartment up here. Right now we live into a house. But when we first moved into our apartment, every now and again we drive past the church that we go to, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a very distinct church.
Building, yeah.
Yeah. It's so it always caught our eyes, and we're like, what is that? We drive past it maybe on a Monday, and there's cars in the parking lot. We're like, what is this church? Why is cars in the parking lot on Monday? So that piqued our interest, and I would say I've always been kind of like a spiritual person. I'd say I believed in God. I really searched for a lot of different religions. Gabby knows this. We were kind of just talking about this
last night.
Yeah, I was researching, trying to find a religion that honestly was true to me. Like I was telling her, I read a bit of the Quran. I looked into Judaism a little bit. That was the most brief. I just kind of know a little bit of the history.
A little bit of a lot.
Yeah. I looked a lot into Hinduism for whatever reason. I tried to be Hindu. I was like, this is cool. I'm gonna try to be Hindu, but I just couldn't get behind it. It was a lot. The thing that really brought me into, for lack of a better word, to my knees and believing was my dad passing away. Mm-hmm. I was already building faith because we started attending a little bit. But once my dad passed away, and you watch the video, potentially, he was Christian at the end, he believed in Jesus, and he's in heaven now, and so it's something that breaks my heart every day. I cry about it very, very frequently, is that my dad passed away, but that's one thing that brought me to Jesus was I want to see my dad again. You know what? He said, he's Christian, and he went to heaven, let me see, if I can become a Christian as well, and so I could see my dad again. That was kind of my big motivation.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because I feel like life events like that can either, I feel like people typically go one of two ways, where it's you lean harder or lean more into your faith, or you just completely turn away from it. And I think there's also a middle road too, but I think we were in the lean more into faith because we needed something,
Yeah, needed something.
So then, that was kind of how you came to know Jesus. And then, what is your life like now?
Well, my life has a lot more purpose. I feel like it has. I'm much more fulfilled, and I don't feel lost. Mm. I feel like everything has a reason now.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Mm. I believe in structure, and with this view, there's many things in my life now, which I'm going to explain a couple of them, that I go that was clearly God, and I couldn't see it in the moment, and I didn't know what he was cooking up, but dinner was served. And and it was through his hand that he served that dinner. And
sorry.
He did.
I know. I stopped saying it. It's just the way
showed.
It's just the way you said it was funny.
And so okay, I'm just gonna go a little bit off this notepad here. What's one thing that God's done in my life that is undoubtedly God, right?
Sorry, I'm still having a hard time with him serving you dinner.
He does. He served. I serve him, so he serves me.
It's so ridiculous. It's a spider egg. Okay. One thing God's...
It's not that funny.
It's saying when this happens to me.
It's not that
something
funny.
will hit my funny bone, and then I just can't collect myself because I just think about it, and then all right.
It's not that funny. It's so annoying.
It's annoying to me. I will me, and I can't. All right, just if you keep going, if you just like send it, then I have to like listen.
So I don't work at the Reptarium anymore. Okay, whoa, how did that happen?
Oh God, you scared me. My eyes were closed because I was trying to like focus on what you were saying. And our window's open, it's dark. You say, okay, whoa. I got scared. Might be slap, might be a little tired.
Goodness, we're never gonna get through this.
Okay.
One last thing is that in life now, materialism truly has went to the wayside. Like, there is one thing that I don't care about anymore is materialism, because I know that it is such an earthly desire, right? And I got my eyes set on heaven and God and Jesus, and everything feels okay, because I'm a little bit stressed about bills sometimes, but I give it up to Jesus just like the Bible says, and I have faith, and I know what's coming after life, and it feels so right. So what about you? What was your life like before Jesus?
I'll just kind of start where you did, like kind of with like my upbringing. We weren't super religious by any means. We didn't really have any structure in that type of way. I did do catechism. So in the little bit that I had growing up, I would say it was Catholic. So I did go through catechism and First Communion. I would go to church sometimes, like with my nana, and but it was like a very strict, like Catholic church. And honestly, like I just thought that's all church was like that. Just like very strict, kneeling in the pews, and the priest and I don't want to use the wrong word, but like just a very, and like as a kid, honestly, it's like boring, right? It was nothing compelling. Like I'm also a kid, so I just like don't really care. It just is what it is. And so that was kind of like my like view, and I think that skewed and in one way or another kind of like steered me away from pursuing my relationship with Jesus. But it's funny because like he never stopped pursuing me, and that's popped up throughout my life, and more so in my adulthood is when I can really like catch the moments where he was like right there, just like waiting for me to like make that decision. So I moved through my teenage years. I'd say pretty like rebellious. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know if rebellious is the right word. I partied a lot. My teenage years, my early 20s, early to mid 20s is really kind of when I slowed down. I would say when did I meet you?
You were 27.
I'm so confused. I was 27.
You were 26.
I was about to say I slowed down when I was 23. Oh, it was the year 2022, 2023. I'm like,
yeah. No, you were 26.
So I was 23. And
Six.
Yeah, so I mean I was, 25, 26 years old.
You were 26. There's not 25, 26. It was just 26.
Okay. It's 26. 27. I'm 29 now.
Yeah.
Okay. When I just like I slowed down on my like drinking and partying, and like I did have like these realizations of like, oh, what I'm doing is just not working. I didn't quite know why it wasn't working. I just knew it wasn't working. A few years earlier, I did attend a, Christian non-denominational. Is that like the church we go to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just like attended a church kind of like on a whim. And I went there and they were like worshiping, which honestly, like I thought was like very weird at first, like the music and whatever. Thought it was weird, but I also like cried through the entire worship, like solo. it was interesting, and I went back a couple more times, but I was still very like wrapped up in my party phase, and so like can't make it to church on Sunday, like when I'm out partying all night Saturday. And like that was just my reality. But like there was something in my heart like trying to place me there. I just was not listening, and I wasn't like in the right environments. So I just think a little bit. Also now learning a little bit, the little bit that I have learned, and really starting to like understand like the structure and like what God has like created and intended for us. I can see where a lot of my hardships like throughout my life have been, because they've been misaligned with like God's plan for us, and I just didn't know, and just caused a lot of pain and strife and struggle in my life, and that's also just part of my testimony and God's plan for me. And I know that now, and there are a lot of things that I've gone through that I just didn't quite understand, and maybe some of it I'm like still working through, but I just know that like I never really understood the statement before, like there's a reason. What is it? There's a reason for everything. What's that like cliche? Everything happens for a reason. And it's like I never I like, okay, sure, like everything happens for a reason, but like that means more now. It's like everything happens for a reason, but it's like because it's God's reason, like it's in His hand, like everything happened, like you get what I'm saying? So anyways, that was just kind of like a little snippet. I could go into probably 3 hours of my craziness.
3 hours of 26 years.
Right. 23 years.
Let me wrap it up in 5 minutes.
So, and then how did you come to know Jesus? Similarly, we moved to where we moved to, and our church was catching our eye, and I Googled it a lot, actually. I don't know if I told you, but like, I Googled it quite a bit. You're looking through like the images, and people are like, there's like pictures of like the stage and the church and the people, and there's just something enticing, and we just now know it's Jesus knocking on our heart to get our butts in there. And so we did, and we started, we started going like after your dad had passed, I believe, right? Yeah, so we popped in a few times, and and I was pregnant. And so the times that we like did pop in, like it was like welcoming and nice, and people were approaching us and so friendly and like loving, and also like I was just like, these people are so happy, like is it real? And now we just kind of have the understanding of like, oh, they may just not be like so happy, but it's like they're human and they're going through things, but like with Jesus in their heart, like you just live a little bit differently. And walking into our church, like you could just see like these people live differently, and they live differently because they had Christ in their heart, have Christ in their heart. Had Cameron, and we kind of took a little break from going. It just was a lot. Postpartum was a lot. Recovery was a lot. I had a C-section, so that's like 8-week recovery, which is more than 8 weeks. I don't know what they're talking about. And then, Bubba was 3-4 months, I'd say. And we like went back and we started going pretty regularly. And again, everyone's just right there welcoming us. And we have couples giving us gifts for Cameron because they see us with the baby. And honestly, I still don't even know that couple's name. I see them every Sunday and I don't know their name, but they just loved on us,
We had multiple people.
We have blanket. We've had so many
blankets.
We probably have like 3 or 4 blankets handmade for Cameron. There's one right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that.
Yeah.
To be honest, that lady was in my grief group. She never met Cameron, and but I talked about having a son, and she knit.
I saved
Cameron a blanket.
Yeah. So that's just that's our church,
People.
Yeah, and it was really a lot of like the community there that helped me grow my relationship like with Jesus, So it's like we started attending church, but like something in me was like I need more. And I found a Bible study at my church and like literally started going there like mid to end of like their their summer sessions, and I didn't own a Bible. Like I didn't even own a Bible, but I was like, I'm going, and nobody treated me any differently. They just loved me and cared and held space for me. And I was pretty like still early postpartum there, so I was struggling, and but I just kept showing up, and that has just progressed and through the Bible studies and the conversations, and our pastor at our church has been really like wonderful in our lives too, and just helping us like connect dots early on. Our pastor and his wife, like we went out to lunch with them, and like I remember asking like a question of like, oh my goodness, Jesus Christ died for our sins. And I remember literally like asking Pastor Jason, like, he didn't even know me. Like how, like my brain was like doing some like weird thing, whatever. Like I asked those questions and never felt judged. They just kept pointing us back to scripture. Read this, check this out. Like, and that is really where the dots started to connect, was like reading the Bible. And then in November, I got baptized. It was crazy. I have a picture. You could maybe put the picture up there. One of the ladies from my Bible study took it.
Send it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll send it. It was the end of, a sermon, and our pastor was up there, and it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing from my understanding, like, just like, hey, like, if you're feeling called, like, we can do this today. And I just, like, flooded with tears, and something overcame me, and I just knew, yeah, I'm going. And kind of like how, it's described, like, baptism. I was baptized when I was a baby. I never really understood what that meant. But, like, coming to our church, like, I've understood that, like, being baptized is showing on the outside what's happened on the inside. And so what's happened on the inside is, like, I, have, I can't think of the scripture, hold on. So what's happened on the inside is, I believe that Jesus died for us. And I went and I got baptized. And just here we are, keeping on.
So what's your life like now?
So now I would say a lot of like what you were saying. It's like I live differently, more purposeful, and also like really conscious, like of let me just think for a second how to explain this. Like if I'm being honest, like I have for my entire life swore up, down, left, and right, like it's just my language. And I now like feel, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't even think that it's not like in the Bible, like don't swear, but there's also just something, I don't know what that is.
In Ephesians 5, it talks about like basically like watching your tongue, like not using a certain language.
Yeah.
But
so I don't know. There's just like certain things that I feel like in my life that I've just for me like prayed on. Like, well, what is it? What in me do I need to? Like shift, alter, whatever. And that's just one of the things for me. And so while I do still swear, it's also one of those things that now I think about, where before I didn't think about it. I would also say like with what you're saying on, what's the word? Stuff. What's the word for stuff? Material.
Materialism.
Yeah, so like, I would also say too, like the whole idea of like materialism, like that's like really shifted for me too. Because I just have realized that like, it doesn't matter. I can't take it with me to heaven. Like, While it does, things do matter, right? There are certain things that are nice to have. It also like isn't everything. Like I feel like I put my everything into like my things or my looks or my who I was dating or whatever, where like now I just like my faith and my happiness and my joy is honestly like in Jesus. And like it can be somebody's upsetting me in my life, or maybe we're having like a hard day, and like I know that like I can still like rely on Jesus. Like he's never going to leave me, and that just brings me like a peace I've never known. And I've told you before, like I've always like searched for this feeling of home. I like talked to you like and said this, and I didn't know what that meant. And now I know what I was looking for, and I was looking for Jesus. And I mean, it's changed my life in a lot of ways, but my brain's also good. I'm a little tired, so I can't think fully.
There's yeah, a couple things I want to add to that is just like with materialism, it's so weird for me. It's just like literally just the thought of heaven just makes me feel like what's something that like what is a Gucci shirt matter? Like it's just like I don't care about that. Like I just think about heaven and just like calms me to my core. And
I feel like it also has allowed us to be like a lot more generous, and maybe in areas where like before I might have been like quite frankly just like stingy, you know, where like and it's not like we have the most means in the world, but like when we do run into something, it's like we try to do things with it. Where before it's just kind of like your flesh takes over and you want everything for yourself. And it's like, well, that's not how we're supposed to live. We're supposed to care for others. And I just think that that's also one lesson, like being in community at our church has taught me through like showing, like I've just witnessed it, and I feel like adapted like in our lives.
One thing that I want to talk about too as well before the camera dies is very briefly just discussing like how the commandments, like following the commandments, it sounds so restrictive from the outside, but understanding now from the inside and being a follower, and I'm a sinner, so I fail all the time, but I really do look to the commandments and I try to, my hardest to follow them. Inside of them is a freedom that you've never felt before. Even though you're following rules, there's this sense of freedom that comes with those rules when you really like are following. It's insane.
I agree. And I never understood that either.
Yeah. So with that being said, we have to wrap this thing up. If you have any questions or any comments, drop them down below and we'll take a gander and try to answer questions.
I'll take a gander.
She'll take a gander and let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time on The Barczyk Show.
Cut. I like my cut.
I do too.
I need a thing.
Yeah, we should get you a thing.
What's it called?
I don't remember right now.
Cut.